Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Ratios. Here we'll be discussing asset management, also known as efficiency ratios. And it's good to keep in mind in terms of efficiency, because ultimately we're going to just take a look at, first, if you look at our inventory turnover ratios, we want to determine how efficient the company is in purchasing their inventory and then selling it. How many times can we do that in a year? Then we're going to actually determine how long we keep our inventory in stock, how quickly we can actually sell it. So let's take a look at our inventory ratios first. Okay, so we're going to take a look at, or we will consider our cost of goods sold, and I've just made it into a positive number as usual, and we're going to divide that by our inventory. Okay. Wonderful. There doesn't seem to be too much change. So in this regard, we're taking a look in terms of how many times it takes to purchase our inventory and then sell it and repurchase it again. So what that translates into how long our actual product is going to stay on our shelf. We're going to divide by 365 by our inventory turnover, right? So again, if we consider these ratios, looks like less than a month it takes to sell our inventory. Now again, depending on the industry, that could be high or low, but if we consider a toy company, that's probably a pretty good indication. Of course, I would always suggest taking a look at some industry ratios to do a further analysis. And also, you do have to consider in the hotel business, inventory is not exactly the same. When we talk about hotels, we are actually referring to our room inventory. So not always applicable, but nonetheless applicable in this question. Now let us assess our receivables. So what now we're assessing is the efficiency into which we are able to collect our payments, our credit payments from our customers. Okay, so of course when we get sometimes our sales, ideally we want our credit sales, but we only have the information for sales. That's okay. Divided by accounts receivable. Okay, so again, how many times are we collecting those payments in that year? All right, 21 times. Again, quite good, reasonable, high. And now let's convert that into basically how many days it takes to collect our accounts receivable. So again, quite reasonable. Anything under a month, I would say, is quite reasonable. Depends on your credit policy, but yeah, that looks great. A little bit of a change, but not much to concern. Again, you're still looking at about 17 days in both cases. So let's punch in some numbers here. And just remember, we're interpreting as long as you have a justifiable supporting answer that is fair. It's an opportunity to start thinking and analyzing what these ratios represent. So again, receivable turnover. Again, how well we are collecting our credit sales. Okay, and the final ratio is really the overall efficiency and how well our assets are actually generating our sales. Okay, how many times over. And again, depending on the industry, right? So if you have an industry that has very high asset industry, such as perhaps running a hotel, then you may not expect the same results compared to industries with really low asset, maybe virtual companies that have major profits or major revenue, but really low assets. So if you're asset light, then you can expect a higher turnover rate. But again, as long as you're comparing, identical companies, even within hotels, if you're comparing perhaps identical comp sets, then it's good that it's a good comparison for sure. So let's again take a look at our revenue, and we're going to divide by our total assets. Okay, so this almost looks like it's close to 1, which again is good. It's very high, right? So let's punch those in. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so when we're again looking at these metrics, we're trying to determine how quick we're receiving our collectibles and how quickly we are at turning over our inventory. Okay, so again, some very positive results here. I'll let you make some decisions. Thanks for watching, and happy financing.